Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our second episode of our new EKN Facebook Face2Face interview show. Today, as you can see, Margay Racing presenting our broadcast. We have some great guests coming. David Cole, are you feeling a little more comfortable in the production chair? I know normally it's EKN Trackside Live production, then it's doing our podcasts and commercial production. You've become a heck of a producer now, but now you're a TV producer. How's that feel?
It's taking to the next step because we're bringing in 5 different feeds into this broadcast. So we're feeling it out as we go along, but we have some plans in place, and we'll see if it plays out well.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on, folks. Of course, so we just launched this deal with Alan Rudolph on Tuesday, and it went over really well. We had some great feedback from everybody, which we thank you for taking the time to send us messages or posting or coming on here, and of course, giving us some live comments as well. We would love that. If you are tuned in, jump on the comments below. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell us what you're doing. If you have questions from our guests, feel free to put them up there. As you may have saw from the first episode, David's able to bring some of those questions in, and we can present them to our guests here today. As we started with Alan Rudolph. Next Tuesday will be a good one. We're going to bring in Mike Burrell and Jason Burgess from USAC Karting. We'll talk a lot about the battle at the Brickyard, how that we see that kind of rolling out. I wrote a column earlier today. Actually, I wrote the column yesterday to run today. USAC, actually, David, coming out with a bit of a communication. A lot of the stuff I was talking about are stuff that they're going to be implementing already for the battle at the Brickyard.
Yeah, and other tracks already that are going to be racing this weekend, such as Newcastle Motorsports Park and other facilities that are member only. They're still following the social distancing guidelines that are set out for the country and each state guidelines that are set out. So a lot of different moving pieces around our sport and getting people on track.
Indeed, good to see who's tuning in right now. Gerald Casely has tuned in. PSL Moncton, they're having a big race. The Can-Am 4-Cycle Festival is happening in June. Hopefully we'll be able to get that one in. Kind of a connected sister race to the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals. You'll win at that event in Quebec. It's a Briggs 206 race. You get a ticket to go race at the Cup Karts North America event. So good to see Gerald tuning in there as well. All right, David, let's bring in the first of the 3 guests we've had here, kind of the lead shoe of this particular trio we have here today. Let's introduce Keith Freber from Margay Racing. There's Keith right there. Look at David doing a great job on the production. Keith, thanks for joining us, buddy. I appreciate it.
Glad to be here, Rob. Super excited to be here. I suppose under these circumstances, I think I'd rather be at the track. I think we'd all rather be at the track right now. And I was actually planning on doing this from the track today, but that's not going to happen because we got some difficult weather back here.
Yeah, so, I think that we're getting that all over the place now, aren't we? It's not good.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, the tracks or some of these restrictions are going to be relaxed, and hopefully we won't be challenged with wet weather and a wet spring. I know everybody is super anxious to get back to the track. I know I am. So we're hoping that Newcastle has some good weather this weekend, and all of the few other tracks that are trying to open. We hope they're blessed with good weather, and we really hope we can see some karts back on the track. I know people are going stir crazy, and they want to get back out, and we certainly want to get back to the track as well.
One of the things we're going to be talking about today, we have a couple of your track operators, essentially owner-operators, talking about the Margay Ignite program. One thing I want to bring up before we bring them in a bit, we'll start talking about Gateway before we do. Your karting stimulus package, I thought was a fantastic deal. Talk about that a little bit. If you buy a cart from Margay, you have a lot of carts ready to go in stock.
Yeah.
You guys are actually going to kick in some cash for their club for their entry fees for this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and this goes along with the theme that we've been talking about how important local tracks are to karting. You know, I talk about the pyramid a lot.
All the time, yeah.
And the top of the pyramid, the tip of the pyramid doesn't exist without the base. Mm-hmm. And that base is our local tracks. And the local tracks are obviously taking a beating right now, being locked down, not being able to open for practice or events, things like that. And it's really important to us that those tracks continue to do well, prosper, and give our customers a place to race. So as I mentioned before, there's no government stimulus coming for the local tracks.
No,
that's not going to happen. So it's a small way for us to ensure that the local tracks are getting some support. So you buy a new cart from us, and we do have them in stock right now. It's been a little quiet, as you can imagine, but we've also been fortunate that we've had some really significant orders come in over the last couple of weeks. So that's been nice. But if you purchase a new cart from us right now, we will turn around and we're going to give $250 to the local track that you designate. So if you're at Mid-State Kart Club, Springfield, Illinois, or 61 Kartways, or OVRP, or Autobahn, wherever you're running, whatever your designated local track is, you buy a new kart from us. That track gets $250, and you get free freight, and you get 2019 pricing.
Now, the $250, is that just for the club itself, or is that to pay for your entry fees, your initial entry fees to start the season?
Good point. Thanks for clarifying that. That doesn't go into the club beer fund or anything like that.
Yeah.
That goes to pay for your entry fees, your practice fees, whatever. So that's going to allow you, as a new participant at the club, you can go out there, you can race, you can practice, and those fees are covered up to $250 worth.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. I love it. Now let's talk about the Margay Ignite program a little bit. Obviously, it's something that has been rolling up impressively. You guys have grown it from that first essential program at Gateway. It was a big part of the Rock Island Grand Prix. It expands from there. Now you have the Margay Ignite Majors, which, of course, last year was Quincy, and it was the Battle of the Brickyard. Yeah. And then it expanded to the SCUSA Winter Series, which was cool to see all those guys down there at the Winter Series. But let's focus back first on Gateway, because Gateway Kartplex really has been, it's kind of the heart and soul of the program, where it's grown out of that connection between rental kart racing and people wanting to go kart, like actual competition karting. And it just, that's really the heartbeat, right, for this whole program right now?
It really is. Gateway is front and center with everything that we've done here. And Curtis Francois gave us a great opportunity, basically gave us a blank sheet of paper when he built the Kartplex there 6-7 years ago. And now we're rolling into our 5th full season there at the Kartplex. And Curtis, again, to his credit, said, look, you're the karting guys. You take care of it. You figure it out. And he gave us a blank slate. And so we tried to look at what had worked in the past in karting and what hadn't worked in the past for karting. And we tried to address the issues that we know made it difficult to get into the sport. We tried to make it easier for people to get into the sport. And I think we've had some really good success there at Gateway. We had an event last year with over 90 entries, which may not sound like a lot to some of the people that are familiar with, Newcastle or some of these other national events, but that was 90 entries in 5 classes. That wasn't across 10 classes or 12 classes. That was 90 entries across 5 classes. So really excited to see the program grow there. And it's Gateway has been a proving ground for the program.
Agreed.
And the people at Gateway, again, Curtis, Chris Blair, these guys are really making a name for themselves in the motorsports world.
Yes.
Not that they need to make a name for them. So they already had a name for them, but they're really solidifying their position as leaders in the motorsports world right now, as motorsports sort of leading promoters. You're familiar with the response that the IndyCar event here at Gateway's gotten. Huge. It's amazing. Totally amazing. And that comes down to Curtis and Chris and the team at Gateway. So we've been fortunate to be a part of all of that over at Gateway, to enjoy all of the energy that happens at that facility, and to prove the program and to fine tune and sort of polish on the program over time. And we've proven and shown that there is a link from rental karts progressing into competition karts and then further on up the karting pyramid. So it's been a really great deal. It's been good for karting in the Midwest. It's been obviously good for us. It's been good for Gateway. And to see the community that has been created at Gateway around the Kartplex over there, and the families that race there, the people that race there, super good group of people, a lot of fun to go racing with. And that's really what we'd like to see more of. We want to see more of that type of camaraderie and that fun happening out at these local tracks all over the country.
And you have the program at Gateway Kartplex. Of course, it's this model that you can say, hey, look how good this works. We're developing this program, the connection from rental karts to competition karts. Well, that's something you've taken to different places. 61 Kartway, as you said, over at TNT, at Midstate, out in Hastings. You've been going to different places with that. So you've grown this thing out to now a challenge series as well. And then, although I know that it's not a national series, you guys don't want to have a national series, but you have the Ignite Majors program, which has, here's some big events. And if you run a club, you're a club level racer, but you want to go somewhere super cool. You want to run Indy.
Exactly.
You want to run Daytona. You want to run Homestead. You want to run Quincy, whatever it is. That Majors program is just, it's I don't look at it as a national. I look at it as more this lineup menu of experiences that you guys have given out to people that run Ignite, right? You can go do this, you can go Rock Island. It's just other experiences for club level racers to go to.
Well, we call them destination events.
I like that. Yeah.
And it's a tough sell for me or for anybody on our team to convince people to sign up for a 4 or 5 race series where they travel to some of these obscure, more obscure places around the country. It's tough to convince mom to go to some of these locales that we sometimes have to go to. And honestly, when you start chasing points in a national level program, I think a lot of the fun factor goes away. There's a whole lot of pressure because of the points. We got to win the points. We got to do well in the points. And all of a sudden it's a job, and it's not about having fun and enjoying your friends at the racetrack and having a cold beer at the end of the day with everybody. I mean, there's just so much pressure, and it's just not as fun as it should be. So we don't want to see a points championship on a national level for Ignite. And we want to continue to do these destination events. And one of those events was 2 of them were down at Homestead this past winter, January and February, with SCUSA. Tom Kutcher and his crew really did a super nice job of welcoming our program. We got a great reception down there. We were thrilled to be there, and our racers just had an awesome time. And they probably would have had even more fun had they known that that was it for a while,
Yeah, true enough. That's right. Yeah, they would have savored it.
But Tim Hannen was down there as a competitor, and Tim won. That turkey, he dusted everybody in the Masters class down there. And so I think that sort of solidified his enthusiasm for the program and implementing it up at OVRP. So you mentioned the regional program we have, the Ignite Challenge Series. Those are all single day events.
I love that. Yeah.
You can you can leave early in the morning and you can be home that night. And that's the whole point of that program is you don't have to be gone. You don't have to leave Thursday morning, set up your pit area Thursday afternoon, flog it for 3 days straight and get home at midnight on Sunday. I mean, I think that appeals to a limited number of people anymore. So one of the cornerstones of that challenge series is, of course, Autobahn, Autobahn Country Club up in Joliet and Kart Circuit Autobahn. They have made a significant investment in karting up there. And so we want to do everything we can to help them justify that investment. And we want to see the continued success of Autobahn. They've got over 100 Ignite owners up there right now, and those guys are chomping at the bit, ready to go.
And I like the fact that I really don't need to be here right now because Freber's doing a good enough job at segueing our 2 guests for me, right? So I don't even need to do this now. Yes, joining, we have Alan Bertagnoli from Kart Circuit Autobahn. We've got Tim Hannen as well. Let's bring Tim in here from Oakland Valley Raceway Park. A couple of guys that are obviously very big into the Ignite program now. Alan, of course, over at Kart Circuit Autobahn. It's been a couple of years. They've been developing that kart circuit there. I've had a chance to race the big car track doing a test for Formula Car Magazine when I had that magazine, but I haven't been on the kart track yet. That's on the bucket list. And, of course, Tim, who Keith had said, spent the year doing a whole bunch of Margay Ignite racing. He and I were actually side by side a couple times during the battle at the Brickyard. I got a chance to call some great racing for him at the SCUSA event. Guys, thank you for joining us here on Face2Face. I appreciate it. Let's talk Ignite racing. You into that?
Yeah, I'm into it. Great to see you guys.
Alan, let's start with you because Kart Circuit Autobahn, I think, is something that's really incredible. It's obviously the member track that they have at Autobahn Country Club. To be able to make that switch and say, here's what we have, we've got guys that run Ferraris and McLarens and Lamborghinis or whatever Porsche, whatever cars we have in the garages there at this member track, to put a karting facility together. Then they invest the money into turning it into what it is right now. And then to bring the Margay program in, the rental car program, then the Margay carts, the Ignite package. Can you give us a little bit of the history about how that happened and how much of a success it's been?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, thanks for having me on the show today. It's a great honor, and I really appreciate you bringing us in and have allow us to speak with Keith and Tim. So the kart circuit, or the actual kart track, has always been in existence. It was a very small third of a mile kidney bean track that Autobahn built when they first built the track 15 years ago.
I didn't know that.
But what they decided to do last year in 2019 was to make a very, very large capital investment into the circuit itself. So it was a redesign, an expansion with elevation. There's bank turns now. We put a lighting system in that is LED stadium quality lighting. It is phenomenal at night. We have brand new parking lot. We actually have a real building because everybody operated out of containers before.
Of course.
So we have a brand new kart maintenance building, a kart storage building. We have a brand new storage facility for the 25 brand new rental carts that we purchased, and just invested a lot of money and effort in just making it a top-notch, full-class racing facility. And believe it, you know me, I've been to a lot of racetracks, and I was very impressed. The first time that I had my son out here to run the track, he was like, "This place is cool." And he's raced at a lot of racetracks as well too. So, with that being said, about 3 years ago, we started with the Margay Ignite program in 2017, and Keith stole a little bit of my thunder. But since that time, we've been able to sell over 100 members here have Margay Ignite carts on site, and that's a range of anything from a Wildcat all the way up to a K3. So we run all the different classes. We run a member race series 8 times a year, very similar to any race series, and it's run on the basis of what Keith had mentioned, where it's run in accordance to the Margay Ignite rules and the rule set with the Briggs LO206 power plant. And then we also adhere to their rules 100%, which from a tech perspective. So it allows the members to follow that structure very easily. And we also run a single day program because it allows members to, have family time as well too. It's a very family friendly environment. A lot of parents are here. They may even drop their kids off where they're running their rookie or their junior kart, and they're off on the big track running the big track with their kart.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then we also have a lot of members that do it as a family. They have the dads racing, their sons and daughters racing, the wives are racing, and it's just a phenomenal environment. I mean, it's grown so much from 2017 to 2019. As an example, we started off, I think the average was about 8 karts per event in 2017. And we went up to averaging 33 karts. And you got to keep in mind, I know Keith had mentioned in regards to an event that has close to 90, but we have we only have 430 memberships here, and not everybody karts. So our largest event last year was 48 karts. That's phenomenal for a country club, because it is a private course. So one of the other things that had changed last year that I want to talk about was the Autobahn's decision to open up the Autobahn, or what we renamed last year as Kart Circuit Autobahn, to the general public between 5 and 10 in the evening. We had created a new gate with a new parking lot that enters in on the south side of the facility.
Oh, nice.
And what we do is we do rental carts from 5 in the evening till 10 in the evening. Members are allowed to come in. But it's primarily open to the public. So it opened up a new revenue source for us. It also opened up a new avenue, which allowed us to create this somewhat of a ladder program. We started doing club leagues with the rental carts last year. We had a real fall 4-event fall rental league. The prize package was to get a full day in a Margay Ignite cart.
Yeah.
So the 2 winners from the one winner from the light class and the one winner from the heavy class in my rental carts now has a full day of private instruction on our racetrack, and we provide them with a cart, and it's a stepping stone. It also is a promotion for them to want to be members at the membership and within the country club itself.
I think that's amazing. Now, I probably should have prefaced this before, just to give people know that you do know national level racing, regional level racing. Of course, your son Alex, a former champion in many different levels of the sport. So you have been to club, regional, and national karting events all over the place. I want to quickly go back and talk about the country club deal, because it's interesting. It is a country club, and similar to a golf course or something like that, it's really hard when you have a country club that's a motorsports country club to have that family atmosphere, because the kids can never really get in the car and drive themselves. If you kind of connect that to maybe golfing, you guys are essentially, to a certain extent, can then have a junior program, as you would have at any golf course.
Correct.
I would have to think that bringing this program and allowing kids of members' families to be able to race as well is only going to continue to fuel the membership side of it as well, because these guys, they're going to get married and they're going to bring family in as well. I just see this thing growing and expanding just for the club membership itself.
Absolutely, and one of the things how we promote that is we have several kid kart camps, or what we call kart camps. I don't want to call it a kid kart camp, because the kart camp is available to anybody. And what we do is it's a half-day camp. It's structured around people that have little to a moderate amount of experience, and it's a combination of classroom and driver coaching on the track. And what it does is it also promotes them to want to get excited. And you have to keep in mind some of the karters that have come up through the Autobahn program are now racing cars at the national level. You have people racing in IMSA, Britt Casey Jr. You have Collins, Brandon Collins, who's racing Spec Miatas now as well. So and then Jordan Missick, who's now racing F3 this year. Yeah. So you have several people that came up through the karting here at the Audubon Country Club, and that's really the goal, to try to get people to, from the small track to the big track.
I like that. Now, Keith, let's talk to you back. I got your headset back in. I appreciate it. Just perfectly timed. As part of the challenge, the Ignite Challenge in the area, you guys get to come to Kart Circuit Autobahn. It has to be a fantastic stop. They put so much money into this racetrack. It's just become this great addition to the challenge program itself.
It's the eye popper stop for our crowd. The last 2 years that we've been up there, 2 years that we've been up there, some of the members, some of the full circuit members have been very generous in opening up their I think the term is garage, but it's obviously a much nicer condo than just a garage. And
we can hear you. We can still hear you.
Okay. And anyway, it's a real eye popper event. I mean, their eyes just, wow, they can't believe how nice the whole facility is up there. I mean, it is absolutely first class, and everything is done with perfection in mind. And that's the way they've approached the new kart circuit as well. And so it's really exciting for our group to get up there, even if it's just for a day. They're treated like royalty up there, and we're looking forward to getting back. We've got a little bit of a delay in getting there. We were supposed to be up there, I think, this weekend actually, and so but that's all right. It's going to rain a lot in Joliet this weekend, so I feel a whole lot better about it. But yeah, no, it's really it's on one end of the spectrum. Obviously, it sets the standard. It's just first class all the way. And then we also hit a lot of the traditional tracks in the Midwest as well. Quincy, TNT, Mid-State Kart Club, 61 Kartways, Gateway Kartplex, of course. Just had a visit here from Mr. Scharf with Gateway Kartplex. So they're getting ready to crack the gates over there too, hopefully very soon. So yeah, it's been really great being involved with all these different tracks.
We pause our face-to-face broadcast for this quick commercial break. Stay tuned for more here on the EKN Radio Network. Fast, fair, and fun. The Margay Ignite Spec Karting program offers you all of that at an affordable price. The all-new IgniteKarting.com page provides you with the information you need to fuel your passion for kart racing. Ignite Karting is a spec package that includes the Margay racing chassis with a Briggs & Stratton 206 engine package and the Hoosier R80 tire. An Ignite K2 is designed for ages 8 to 12, while the Ignite K3 is available for junior, senior, and masters drivers. The 2020 season has a handful of major events for Ignite Karting. The historic Quincy Grand Prix is set for June 13th and 14th, racing through the city's famed South Park. The USAC Karting Battle at the Brickyard on July 14th, 15th, 16th is held inside the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where you have a chance to take a lap around the famed 2.5-mile oval and the special Yard of Bricks. All information on events throughout the country and Ignite Kart packages, including dealers in your area, are available at IgniteKarting.com. Head there now to register for the upcoming SCUSA Winter Series event on February 7th, 8th, and 9th at AMR Motorplex in Homestead, Florida. Arrive and drive packages are still available. So get off the couch and onto the track this year. Ignite Karting. Fuel your passion. Made in the USA. That's exactly what you get from Precision Karting Technologies. Based in Detroit, Michigan, PKT brings over 35 years of manufacturing experience to the sport of karting. Their passion for the sport began focusing around the kid kart platform and has expanded every year with hundreds of products designed to put you on the podium. Precision Karting Technologies is known around North America for their successful line of axles, available in all age groups. PKT manufactures a number of engine products for Comer, IAME, Rock, Rotax, and the popular Briggs & Stratton 206. A wide variety of chassis components for the many brands in the sport are available through PKT, including hubs, pedal risers, skid plates, and other hardware for your kart. Axle straightening, chassis adjustments, engine service, and specific CNC machining projects are available through their Motor City headquarters. To learn more about the many products and services available from Precision Karting Technologies, head to pktaxles.com. The Briggs & Stratton 206 engine is where out-of-the-box ease and outstanding consistency meet to create legendary races. Briggs & Stratton's history in motorsports dates back to when the first engines came off the assembly line in the early 1900s. Their focus on the grassroots level continues to help build generations of racers. Since 2008, the Briggs & Stratton 206 has gained a following that has the engine powering the largest fields in North American karting today. From the club level and track programs to traveling regional series and national events, Briggs & Stratton competition provides the most exciting racing in the sport. Engineered and hand-built exclusively for racing, every Briggs 206 engine is power tested and serialized before it goes in the box. Karters can take that engine straight from the box to their kart and be on the podium at the end of the race day. To learn more about the 206 engine and to find a North American dealer near you, head to briggsracing.com. Briggs & Stratton Racing. What powers you?
You want the best, you just gotta roll with the best. Streeter Superstands. This is Jeff Wessel from StreeterSuperstands.com. You wouldn't put subpar parts on your racing cart, so why put that cherished ride of yours on anything but karting's #1 lifts and stands, Streeter Superstands. Streeter is the original and genuine manufacturer of the second-to-none Bigfoot rolling stands, stackers, uprights, and industry-leading Superlift. We also manufacture and sell the largest and always growing roster of trailer and shop accessories like tire, engine and jug racks, cabinets, spray can trays, bead breakers, and tons more to outfit any size trailer, team, and budget. Streeter Superstands has over 30 continuous years of experience. We're kart racers just like you and know that the Streeter name represents the absolute best in stands, lifts, and accessories for karting enthusiasts worldwide. Durability, affordability, unmatched quality, and customer service, that's what sets us apart from the rest. Check us out now at StreeterSuperstands.com. Roll with the best, StreeterSuperstands.com.
Welcome back to Face2Face on the EKN Radio Network. Well, let's move over to Tim Hannen right now, because I don't think I've heard Tim not talk for 24 straight minutes. This is absolutely amazing to have him shut down for a bit. I thought it might have been on mute for a second there, Tim.
Oh, David had me on mute at the appropriate times. I think he saw I was going to interject. And
you were like, I'm ready. So we talked obviously about the launch of the Ignite program with Keith and a Gateway and everything they did. Then we talk about this, move to the Kart Circuit Autobahn a couple of years ago and how great that has been, how the expansion, how it's grown. You're part of this new front-running move, right? Because there's all the new tracks all over the place. Sean Bailiff down at Trinity Karting Group and Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati bringing the Ignite program on as well. You did a bunch of racing last year. First off, we'll come back and talk about OVRP a little bit. Of course, this track started in 1958, one of the oldest kart tracks in the country that's still operating. How do you see the Ignite program fitting into what you guys have going at Oakland Valley?
Well, I've said for years, and many of my friends know that I wasn't buying into the 206 program because the guy on a very strict budget is going to show up with a 10-year-old chassis, and then someone with a budget can pull a $6,500 go-kart off the wall, and it's really not the parity that's being sold. So I applaud Keith for putting together a package that is drivable right out of the box. I showed up to the first race, and I thought I might get some info out of Greg and the boys there, and Greg flat out said to me, just drive it and drive around what you got, and on Sunday the go-kart will be good. And so there are some small things that you can do to change the go-kart, but the fact is you can really just get in it and drive it and expect to see the checkered flag and have a great time racing with some people.
So you guys have a rental car program. I know you guys have a fantastic, just a racing series that you guys run. Of course, you've been there for 10 plus years. Your family has owned the racetrack. You have a rental car program. Do you see similar to what we're seeing with Alan at Autobahn to try to make that connection of getting these rental car drivers to make themselves potentially move into Ignite? Will that be the first step that you'll sell?
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think what we're going to do is probably skip the step where we race our rental cars. I'm sure Alan will agree that if you get people who know what they're doing, or worse, think they know what they're doing and don't, the abuse on the equipment through competitive experience is insane. So to save that equipment for what it's meant for, and it's the introduction and it's the candy and it'll last a lot longer. And then I think the combination of a bulletproof engine, our business plan has always been to expose as many people to the experience as we can. And that means running engines that when you pull the string, they're going to start lots and lots of times. And, that combined with the 80 durometer tire, there once was a tire called the D1. And that was some of the most fun racing that I did with my compadres because it was difficult to drive. And I think that this is it's a difficult tire to drive, and we all share that. And that is kind of the icing that makes this so much fun to drive when you're racing with other people.
One of the things I think I want to bring up, this is interesting about the package itself, is, again, it's great for people coming out of rental karting that maybe want to get into the competition side. It's good for people that are just on a kind of a bit of a budget, but it's also drawn back a bunch of guys that have raced a bunch of stuff. You look at Keith Scharf, who's SCCA driver, all the great race car stuff he's driven, pulls a guy like you back into drive. Phil Pignataro, bringing him back. Here's the guy that wins like top level X30 Masters races around the country as a front runner, but throw him back in a Margay Ignite because it's just pure fun. That's what I love about it.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing with the Ignite is, if you're gonna run a higher horsepower kart, or if you're gonna run a softer tire, then you're going to need to spend some time in the gym. Regardless of your age, you're gonna have to make a physical investment. And I think that's something fun for guys like me and you. We could show up to a couple races a year, and although we have experience racing, we're probably not physically ready to go drive a shifter. However, we can go use our life's experience and actually go and have fun with our friends and race all 3 days and be competitive and still enjoy doing it.
I love that. Now, let me throw this out here right now. We're about a half an hour into the show. Those of you tuning in right now, if you have any questions for any three of our guests, feel free to put them in the comments, and David will pop them up, and we'll ask some questions of our esteemed guests here. Tim, I'll start with you, and we'll go around the horn. We've got to grow the sport a little bit, right? And I think, obviously, Keith had mentioned earlier about the bottom of the pyramid. What do you see that we need to do? And I'll ask both you and Alan, track managers, track owners, what do we need to do as karting businesses to kind of grow this sport right now? And of course, the Ignite program is a big part of it. But what do you think? As being a track owner?
Well, I mean, with my family and with our staff here, I always say if we answer every phone call, we're going to make 20% more business. And so I think for all of us, it is even that much more essential that we engage with every potential customer. And the reality is that guys like Alan and myself are responsible for populating the sprint kart industry. We're responsible for putting drivers in Mike Doty's tent, and responsible for those kids who win with Mike Rollison and PSL and all of those other teams that rely on us to bring people into the sport. So at the end of the day, I think Alan and I will both agree that it's time to step the game up even more and engage every single opportunity. Now, I think one of the things that Alan and I have as a major advantage to some of our more rural friends, people who are spending big money to drive their race cars on the weekends are going to have to change their budgets. And the last major financial situation that we had, we were ready for just to get flooded with impossibilities. And what ended up happening, it was the race car guys that parked that budget and came and drove go-karts with their children. So The timing couldn't be better for us to roll out the Margay Ignite program. You know, we're near the epicenter of this catastrophe, and you know, my 75-year-old mom works the desk here, and so we have to take this very, very seriously. But you know, of course, we're also eager to get going, and right now we're told by our local authorities they're going to investigate May 4th. You know, I know that my mom and her golfing buddies are out a lot more than the rest of her friends that work. So, you know, so hopefully we see a corner turn in this part of the country, and then even, man, I'd love to load up our trailers, but how many of our friends in the Midwest want to see a truck with a New York tag rolling into their lot right now? You know, so right. I mean, we're stuck, and we're just going to have to ride it out. But I think the idea is, I believe that the gate is going to have a line of people, and I firmly believe that we're going to have 10 people driving our first Margay Ignite race here at the facility.
So here's a question. I want to bring this back. We'll go around the horn for this because you bring this up, and I think it's a really good question. And Andy Saisman and I talked about this a little bit. One of the things that's going to happen is, especially over this first couple of months, when people aren't flying a lot, when we may not see an ability to have a race over 500 to 1,000 people, are we going to see a lot of the national guys and regional guys potentially come back to the club level, support their club, be out there maybe racing, maybe wrenching, maybe instructing, just to help out their grassroots level where they came from? I think that's something I'd like to see.
Oh, I think so. I think it's a huge opportunity for people to get sharp. You know, when you talk about a weekend budget at any of the major events, you know, are you going to go there after you've only driven 3 days? So, you know, I think that the people are going to spend the time getting back to getting sharp. I hope that the other players in the industry are able to see way to drop into the schedules they have, as opposed to all of us scrambling and scheduling on top of each other. It's going to do nobody any good. And hopefully we can all approach that way, because at the end of the day, what we really want to do, you know, as Keith mentioned in our notes before the show, what is the new normal? And what we want to try and do is get back to what we know as normal, being smarter, having experienced what we've experienced. But right, Keith, I mean, don't we just want to drop back in and let's go to Gateway and go racing? Let's go to Audubon and, you know, let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everybody wants to get back to it, and nobody more so than me. I mean, everybody's just chomping and ready to go, and we've got Indy to look forward to here in July. But we all collectively, as a sport and as a business, as an industry, we need to be smart about what we do. We can't just sort of dive back in and pretend that, you know, we don't need to change, because things are definitely different, and we need to just be very smart, and we need to cart smart in the world of creating hashtags. We need to cart smart, and we don't want to. We want to be model citizens when we get back to the track. And I think that's very important for everybody. So we need to be smart about the way we approach this.
In the article that I wrote, the column I wrote, the morning coffee, I talked about that. No, we all want to get back to the racetrack, and of course, everybody's got to do what they can in terms of staying apart and still having social distancing. But I think if we have that, if we have the respect for everybody we're with, I think that's going to be key when we get back to the track. Wearing masks, staying away from each other, washing your hands as much as you can. I think that if we do the right things, because our sport really is, although we like it to be hands-on-y and high-fiving and shaking hands and sharing beers, it doesn't have to be. We can stay apart and still get a race together. We don't have the camaraderie we normally do, but we can do a race and never really be 6 feet close enough to each other unless you're on the racetrack. Is that correct? What do you think, Alan?
Yeah, so I can tell you for a fact that we're going to be wearing masks. Everyone at the Audubon will be wearing masks when we get up and running. We're withholding and holding to whatever Governor Pritzker announces this week. So we're going to abide by that. There could be some special rules around golf courses and parks that we'll be able to adhere to. And I can tell you, to get back to two of the other things that were brought up here, is that you will see some national level drivers stepping down into I can tell you for a fact.
One for sure.
So, he'll be doing, he already does coaching and does a lot to support club level and regional level racing when he's not national level racing. And he's going to be doing some regional stuff this year. one of the other things that we had talked about and Tim mentioned and Keith had also mentioned, and how do we grow the sport? And I think, and what I've seen personally, and I'm going back to my own experience on how we got started racing back in the day at Badger Kart Club up in Dousman, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Back then, when my son started racing, the kid kart class and the Yamaha rookie class were the biggest classes that were participating in those races. So it's, as Keith said, it's a pyramid. But right now, what I see happening, even at the Autobahn, and even at when I've heard about Badger Kart Club, some of the local tracks here, it's almost a reverse pyramid where the kid kart classes and the rookie classes are some of the smallest classes now. So how do you build that base unless you have your entry-level go-karters, kid karters, rookie karters, cadets, anybody that's racing, the mini rock or the 60 cc 2-cycle or even the Briggs power plant is just so popular. I think that we need to get more young kids involved at that entry level to create that bottom of the pyramid to be wider, as Keith had mentioned.
Yeah, it's the pyramid of grassroots, club, regional, and national, and then it's the actual pyramid of let's have younger kids coming into the sport.
Different pyramid, yeah, exactly.
But it's still a pyramid. Tim, what about you? What do you guys see over at OVRP in terms of having the young kids? I know that you guys love working with the young kids in the sport and coaching them and the whole deal. How do you see your level of young drivers, cadets, kid karts, and are you doing anything, or do you have anything special that you guys do to bring more in?
Well, I think one of the things that we do, that is, Rob, that is probably my favorite thing to do, is to take a 5 or 6 or 8-year-old kid and just teach them a little bit of safety, but open their eyes and open their imagination. And then, kind of all it goes from there. But we're experiencing the same thing that Alan is in the rest of the country. We have 30 juniors that show up. We have 20 seniors and 18 masters. But then we get, 6 or 8 little kids at the end of the year. We might start with 4. So I don't have an answer, but I agree with Alan completely that we need to start working with the kids that are single digits in ages and not just, we're getting great people in and lots of people, but they're teenagers when they show up, or adults.
Let's get your comment on this. David, let's look at the comment from Brian McHattie just put up. He says, local grassroots karting needs to be back to kids and parents working together instead of writing checks to a coach, tuner, or team at the local level. What are your thoughts on that? Alan, you're laughing. Do you want to talk about the fact because I know you worked on your son's
so I still do. So even though my son races for a major team, one of the requirements that I have is that I get to work on the go-kart still. Yeah. It's created a trust level and a bond that you cannot break. And believe it, and I know you can, and I know you all can. Everybody on the call here is that the whole check writing is at a new high level right now. And I understand that not everybody wants to work on a go-kart. Not everybody has the skill set level to do it. But I agree wholeheartedly with Brian and everything that, there's a lot more to be gained by, learning and picking up some of the skills that you would have to actually work on the go-kart yourself, or try to do as much as you can. Plus, it's going to create a bond that cannot be broken with your son or your daughter.
That's it. Hey, listen, here's a story I always tell. I remember talking to a couple of parents, and a father will come and say, I'll say, how's your day going? They're like, oh, we're having a horrible day. And I go, that's awesome for you. And he's looking at me like, you're crazy. What do you mean it's awesome for you? I said, what other sport can you be in with your son or daughter where you can have a bad day and you have to work together? You actually have to talk to each other to solve a problem together to find success. You don't get that in basketball, football, baseball. It's a single sport. You actually get to work with your child to discuss and talk and have a dialogue. Keith, I know that you would believe in this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the great things that we see with parents working together with their kids at the track. And something that's often overlooked is that in karting, you're working together. The parent is engaged with the child. They're working together to solve problems. Compare that to, the typical soccer or little league parent or whatever. You're sitting in the grandstands, you're drinking beer, you're hanging out with the other parents, and you're watching your kid out there on the field do whatever.
Screaming.
Yeah, yelling at the umpires or referees. Here, you're working together with your child, with your kids, to, again, solve a problem, to improve the situation, to achieve a common goal. And that is something that I think is very rare in other sports. So it's just one more great thing about karting and one more great reason that parents and kids should be out there competing together at the local level.
I love it.
And that's a great thing. Real quickly, I got to sell it a little bit.
Lots
But real
of time.
quickly, that's a great thing about the Ignite program is that it's not overly complicated. It's very simple, straightforward. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure it out and make it go fast. Very straightforward, very easy to be competitive with, and a great place to learn a valued skill set when you want to move up the ladder.
We're at the battle at the Brickyard, and IMS President Doug Bowles is wrenching on his son's cart and starting it off, and that's awesome. Now, quick, David, I want to do a shout out there, a comment by Top Kart USA talking about at Whiteland Raceway Park. They had 20 to 30 kid carts at their local events last season. That's what we want to see, right? If you have 30 kid carts, it's gonna fuel up and keep moving. That's the beauty of this thing, for sure.
Yeah, and I've heard the folks at Whiteland are just absolutely doing a phenomenal job. So that's great to hear.
And another Ignite program, right?
Not a full-on Ignite program
They're
yet.
selling Ignite carts.
Yeah, they're selling the carts over there and part of the Ignite Challenge series. And wait, I'm wrong. They do have an Ignite class over there,
Okay.
and we are going there with the Challenge series. That could be our first race, but the schedules are changing daily, so we'll see there.
Let's bring another one up here, David. Chris Rule has made a comment. He said, "I found that my son will listen more to a coach and another experienced racer more than he will me. So we find that value in that interaction." And again, Alan, you could talk about that. Obviously, you continue to learn more and more.
Right.
Right.
So what I found was that every kid is different, but I would have to agree with Christopher there that when my son, first year junior, I think he was 13 years old, is when I started working. I still did all the work on the go-kart, but I had somebody coaching him, and that's when things turned around.
A top driver within the team.
Yeah. It was Jason Birdsell. So anyway, once we, so it was. Jason wasn't doing the work on the go-kart. I was still doing the work on the go-kart, but he was actually coaching him to the point where he stopped listening to me. So it doesn't mean we didn't continue to still work together. It's just that it aided him in his acceleration up the ladder as far as his driving skills.
Well, we talked to Al Rudolph about that on Tuesday, about the fact that the parent could still work on the kart and continue to learn from the team and be able to work on the kart. But again, to have more people at the team, top drivers, whatever it may be, or the lead driver of the team to be able to work with him on driving skills, I think is a key thing. We pause our face-to-face broadcast for this quick commercial break. Stay tuned for more here on the EKN Radio Network. Cometic Gasket is a leading worldwide supplier of gaskets and engine sealing solutions for karting, automotive performance, power sports, original equipment, and the remanufactured engine industries. Cometic karting gaskets are available as OE replacement top-end kits or as individual gaskets and seals. Just like competitive karters, Cometic can operate on the fly and has the unique capability to customize any gasket to meet specific engine requirements and clearances. All of Cometic's fiber materials are asbestos-free and do not require any additional sealants. Viton oil ring cylinder head seals are used in each 2-cycle kit, and Cometic's 4-cycle engine kits feature only the most advanced multi-layer steel head gaskets. Cometic can tailor to engine builder specific needs through bulk ordering and packaging flexibility. Cometic gaskets are must-haves for championship-winning teams across multiple disciplines of both professional and amateur motorsports. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
Located in Mooresville, North Carolina, on-site at GoPro Motorplex, Kart Sport North America features over 6,000 square feet of retail space. Along with being the official race team and distributor for the Kart Republic chassis, they offer full retail sales, kart service and storage, and products from the top brands in the sport such as CZ Chain, Talon Sprockets, SKF bearings, and Prisma tire gauges. If you want to take your racing to the next level, they also offer driver training and coaching programs available trackside at GoPro Motorplex. They have a massive inventory, so head to their online store at kartsportna.com to get same-day shipping of the parts and components that you need. While you're there, check out their used section of karts, engines, parts, and accessories. Kartsport North America. Top quality products, winning brands, and professional driver development services.
Wins in the sport's biggest races and championships in national and regional series all over the country, they're all on Nitro Kart's resume. The Nitro Kart has made its statement as the best, fastest, and winningest cadet chassis on the American market. The 2020 Nitro Cadet is even better. The kart features magnesium front and rear hubs, a floating sprocket hub, and a roller-bearing steering column support with toe lock. The Nitro Kart Cadet is completed with Mini Dynamica bodywork and Max Pappas's MPI steering wheel. If you want to win in Cadet, get a Nitro Kart and join our team.
I am Nitro Kart Mini driver and national champion Spencer Conrad. We just got our 2020 Cadet chassis just before Daytona this year, and I really like it a lot. I got my first victory with it in just the second time on track. I really like the MPI wheel and the new brake system. Plus, the bodywork is really cool. Come join the winningest cadet team on the market. Team Nitro. Race one or chase one.
Nitro Kart! Race one or chase one!
In karting, it's important to be supported by the right people. With over 40 years of experience in the sport, Trinity Karting Group has everything you need to make your program successful. We do it all, and we do it right. Trackside support and arrive and drive programs at many of karting's biggest East Coast events, full product sales and service, and professional coaching from our experienced staff. Trinity Karting Group is a full-service operation based at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, which gives us access to our custom-designed driver training facility. This allows us to offer private one-on-one coaching to take you to the next level. We're also your Midwest home for Tony Kart and IAME, and we're your source for MG and Evinco tires in the region. Tony Kart quality cannot be beat, so call us today to put you in a new chassis for your next event. In 2020, we'll be racing and providing arrive and drive programs for the full SuperKarts USA Pro Tour and the Great Lakes Pro Kart Challenge, the WK's Kart Week in Daytona, and exciting events like the USAC Battle at the Brickyard and the Rock Island Grand Prix. From arrive and drive and coaching programs to the parts you need, let Trinity Karting Group provide you with customer service and a racing experience second to none. Trinity Karting Group has a long history in the sport, a winning pedigree, and we're dedicated to driver development. We take pride in our professional approach and our positive attitude. Let us build a custom race program for you. Give us a call at 513-421-4463 or check us out online at trinitykartinggroup.com. Welcome back to Face2Face on the EKN Radio Network. One thing I want to bring up, and this is another question. We'll start around the horn. We'll start with Keith, then we'll go to Al, and then we'll go to Tim. What do you guys think the biggest hurdle right now is to get new people into the sport? And let me preface this with the fact that we talked about the fact that money was the first hurdle, right? That was that first thing you had to jump over. The Margay Ignite at its level. When you brought it out, Keith, I said this before, that the Margay Ignite, removed that barrier of entry of the price. And then a new cart was this price, and then a used one, he was even a little bit cheaper. Now, granted, they hold their value for a long time simply because the fact it's a spec program. But of course, barrier of entry, price, the number one thing. What else is a big hurdle, do you think, Keith, in bringing new people in?
That's a tricky question right now. There's a lot of variables, but certainly there's a comment here from Robbie Seward that says it's hard to convince anyone to spend any money right now. And that's true, but I think we also need to look at this as an opportunity. People have been cooped up for a long time. People have had the opportunity to sort of evaluate their position in life and the things that they want to do. And I think what I'm hoping that we'll see when we come out of this is that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to say, I always wanted to race a kart, or I always wanted to do this, or I always wanted to do that. We need to position ourselves to take advantage of that and be ready to cater to those people. And like Tim says, be ready to answer every phone call aggressively, give them the information they need, make it easy to get involved. That's the trick here. It's if you look at competing products out there, it's so easy to spend money in other places. And we need to work collectively as an industry to make it easier for people to spend their money with us and remove more of the entry barriers. One of those barriers is having 15 different engine platforms to choose from. And that's an exaggeration.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, people just want to race go-karts. They don't know if they want to race a tag. They don't even know what a tag is. When they walk into a showroom and they say, hey, my kid wants to race go-karts, and somebody says to them, well, do you want to race a tag? Or, and this guy's, what's a tag? You know, they have no idea. We take these things for granted. But there's too many options out there, and we need to provide them a clear entry point. This is where you start, and I think you're doing people a service by limiting their choices. There's all of that other cool stuff out there, and you can go do that at some point. But don't give them 15 choices right off the bat, because
it's so much noise, right?
There's a lot of noise. And
if you give them a reason to go, it's just too much, I'll go do something different.
That's exactly right.
I agree with that.
And Alan, once we get them in, we have to, as a manufacturer, Tim and Alan were talking about how it's their role to provide the platform to feed up the pyramid, feed the racers up the pyramid to the higher levels. It's our role to provide Tim and Alan with a platform to bring new people into the sport. We've got to provide that package that's sitting there behind Tim. We've got to make it attractive to purchase. We've got to make it easy to work on, and we have to do a better job of that. We have to make it easier to work on. We have to make things simpler. We have to simplify things for people. People don't want to invest years and years and years becoming proficient on rebuilding 2-cycle carburetors or the intricacies of a dry 2-disc clutch. They want to go race.
Yeah.
Let's make it easy for them to get on the track, and let's make it easy for them to race.
So before we go to Alan, let's bring up the first comment from Josh Ulstrom. He says, a set of tires and fuel every weekend for a plastic trophy is the issue. That's not the Ignite program, though. That's the key. It's not that. The tires last forever. You're putting in, it's pump fuel. You're putting in $6 or $7 worth of fuel, and the tires last. It's not
the tires. Gateway Carplex, for instance, the tires should last you a full season, and you will be competitive at the last race on those tires. There is no reason to go out and buy new tires for the last race. You can make a full season on a single set of tires. That's a $200 set of tires that you're going to amortize over 10 races. So you're basically paying $20 a weekend for tires. Add your fuel into that. At Gateway, you're going to spend $26 a weekend on fuel and tires.
That's it, right? That's it. So again, it's karting. You pay for how fast you want to go. You want to go faster, you got to pay more money, more tires, more fuel, more everything, right? So Alan,
cost, how fast do you want to go, right?
That's it. Alan, let's come to you. In your experience at Kart Circuit Autobahn, what has been that hurdle in getting people into the sport?
Making it, and I agree with Keith wholeheartedly, it's making it easy. And one of the things that we're doing to try to develop that is, as I had mentioned earlier, I store about 60 of the 100 carts that are here. I have a climate controlled storage building and basically those of people that have boats or are familiar with boats in-out service. I provide an in-out service. So people, they call ahead. Hey, I'm coming to use my cart today. So what we do is we have a weekly newsletter that's sent out to people. It's called Talk Around the Track. I promote the go-karts. I promote our storage facility. So what we try to do is amplify what Keith had mentioned, is we make it as easy as possible. I know this goes against something that we already talked about, though, but we also promote working on their go-karts. So because let's face it, a lot of people in my environment, they don't really want to work on the go-kart. But there's really not a lot to do, as Keith had mentioned. I mean, the entry level and the working on a 206 and the Ignite platform itself it's a lot of it is just, it's drive the go-kart. There's not a lot to do. There's not a lot of adjustments and you just take care of it. You make sure the cart's aligned. You make sure you have fresh gas in it, and you go.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, Tim, I see you furiously writing notes down over there. What do you have to add to this deal about that being the hurdle that we're trying to get over to get guys into the sport?
No. I thought when we were talking before the show, we were talking about visual ruse. That was a visual ruse. I just looked like I was furious. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I completely agree with what everybody is saying. And, because we have the ability to move a 2 or 3 day old Margay package to a customer, we are limiting the number of tires that somebody can use for the entire season at 8, which essentially means you either get a new set with your new go-kart or, at some point during the season, if you're eager to spend money, you're going to find for the next 3 sessions, you're actually going slower on the new tires, as we've all experienced, right? And just to that, I know there are people out there saying, come on, tires, it's the contact patch, it's the whole thing. We're racing with Keith in the program at the national level. If I could spend money on more tires, because we're already spending $1 zillion to go there and the hotels and everything, if that would make us faster, it would make us faster. And we're literally running at the national level tires for 8 weekends before we put new tires on. So I completely agree on the tire side. And then the ease and the noise are 2 things that I agree upon. We're all a little old school. I might be the youngest old school, maybe not, but
easy now.
But right. I mean, when we grew up racing, the 2 things you had to know to not wreck your day was how much oil goes in my gas and how much do I have to weigh. In this program alone, it takes half of that away. And that is phenomenal. And what we're trying to do, one of the things that I see is you'll have families of 3 and 4 people, and they have to choose who races and who doesn't race, even though they're all total addicts. So with this program, right, I assume I'm close to where Alan or anybody else is with a go-kart. If they come in and say, hey, I'm racing a tag, or, a couple times a year in my neighborhood, we get, yo, cuz you got shifters. But, they can come in and they can race, and their son can race or their daughter can race for the same amount of money that they would buy a go-kart for just one person. And so I think that expands the ability financially to do it. And then one of the things that we're going to do here, because so many of our racing children have currently successful or race car driving parents. So we're going to do a concierge service to where literally the dad or the mom says, okay, Joey, go get a hot dog and then go sit in the grandstands. And they put the suit on, they go to the grid. The go-kart is going to be waiting for them on the grid in the spot that they've qualified. They go race, they scale, they walk away from the go-kart and go back to their family until it's time to drive again. And so, I think I agree with everything all of you guys brought up, and we can only hope that, to touch on each one of those to have success.
What I saw from everybody here, which I thought was interesting, it was essentially not tailoring, but providing the experience that every different customer wants, right? Some customers want a cart and they want to work on it themselves. Other guys want a cart and they want somebody, but they want to kind of be hands-on. Other guys want to just come and roll in and drive the cart and go. Those are the barriers of entries, right, Keith? If we just do whatever, if we provide a lot of different experiences all within our program, then you can bring anybody in. You're getting rid of all the excuses not to go racing.
Now more than ever, flexibility is the key, right? I mean, you've got all that wide range of people you were just talking about. The parents that don't want to touch anything. They want to drop the kid off, let them race, have a big time, play with their friends. That's great. And then you have the people that still like to tinker, and the people that still like to build their own motors and do a lot of chassis work and things like that. And so you've got everything in between there. And I think we've got a program here that caters to that wide range of people. It also caters to facilities like Allen's and Tim's, where they can provide the service of, drop your cart off, we'll take care of it. Like Alan said, it's an in and out type of service, We'll take care of everything for you, the concierge level service. People want that these days. And I think we're providing a platform here that enables that. And when we talk about platforms, we have to give a shout out to Briggs for providing this 206. Like Tim, I was a late adopter. I was not an early adopter. I'm a 2-cycle guy. I grew up building my own 2-cycle engines, I mean, right out back here. I mean, I still have all the tooling from when we did build our own 2-cycle engine from the ground up here at Margate. So I was late to the party, but once I got involved in it, boy, did it, I mean, it answered so many questions. It addressed so many issues with karting. It made things so much easier. And I don't know where karting would be today, where sprint karting would be today without the 206. And we're very fortunate that we get to work with Briggs closely on different projects, and they've got a new management team up there.
Yeah.
And these guys are committed, they're focused, and they're working on a lot of really cool stuff. So we couldn't be more excited to continue our relationship with Briggs. And I think it's going to benefit everybody at the club level tracks too.
All right, let's wrap this thing up. Keith, obviously some growth over the last number of years. You picked up Autobahn, then you added, of course, the Oakland Valley Raceway Park. Can you talk more potentially about, as we cap off here, other areas of growth, people that are picking up the phone and calling you about getting Ignite to their track?
Yeah, absolutely. We talk to those people every day. Sean Kennedy does a great job with that. He's really worked hard to grow the program along with Greg Dingus. Those guys here are the support level. I mean, they're the backbone of the program here. They do all the grunt work. I get all the glamour and get to hang with you guys.
Like David Cole.
Yeah, they are the David Cole of Margate. So, we've got. I think we've got a lot of opportunity staring us in the face for when we come out of this period. Made in the USA. We make the product right here. Right here.
We didn't bring that up, and that's something that needs to be brought up for sure.
They're building product right outside the door right now. And our package is built around the U.S. built Briggs engine and the U.S. manufactured Hoosier tires. It's pretty cool that, Briggs and Hoosier are literally, 150, maybe 200 miles apart. And the product, the Hoosier product is 100% made in the USA. The Briggs product is 100% assembled in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And our chassis are built right here in St. Louis. So I think there's going to be a little bit more sentiment to buy local, buy American. And I think we've got a great product. We're not asking you to buy the product because it's built in the US. We're asking you to buy the product because it's a great product and it is a great platform. And it happens to be built here in the US. By a great team here at Margate. So
that's awesome.
Pretty excited to get working with these guys and get some karts on the track.
Alan, in talking to you guys got something amazing going at Kart Circuit Autobahn. It was great to get some more insight from you, and I really appreciate that. We're all waiting to go racing. I know you had mentioned potentially you might hear something about May. What are you looking forward to this year? What is the status of Autobahn? What are you looking forward to maybe more?
I'm looking forward to just getting going. I go to the track probably 2-3 times a week just to button up some items. We're doing a lot of planning. I'm just looking forward to getting going, getting in a rhythm, let's say.
Yeah.
Because right now there's no rhythm involved whatsoever. You're just kind of planning for social distancing and how to wash things. Which is not fun. And the thing that I guess that's the scariest part is, we talked about it a little bit earlier, is what is the new future or the new world going to look like? I don't think we really know.
No.
So we're just kind of hypothetically planning how to clean things, how to plan, but I just want to get going. I just want to get out there. I actually drove a go-kart the other day because there was nobody around and there was nobody within 300 acres of me. So I took a rental cart out. I just wanted to do that.
I feel you on that. Trust me. I've been doing a lot of iRacing and it's just not doing it for me. Maybe we'll get some people, everybody's jumping on iRacing right now. Maybe we can grab the iRacers and say, hey, listen, do you actually want to feel what it feels like and smell what it smells like, get out to the track? I think we'll try to drag some iRacers out karting as well. Yeah. Let's wrap up with Tim Hannen. Guys, Tim, you guys made some pretty big capital investments into your track. You repaved the facility as well. OVRP is an iconic racetrack. We hear people throw names out like Sage Karam and Santino Ferrucci and some of the guys that started there. But an iconic track, what are you looking forward to this year? New plans potentially you're working on? The Margate Ignite, probably going to be one of the big highlights this year.
Oh, that'll be a huge highlight, and like Alan was saying, the curves are painted. I don't think we've ever had all 3 lawnmowers running at the same time. Yesterday, I was actually working on a 1958 grader to work on our dirt track. So we're all going crazy a little bit differently as I live at the track with my dogs. And, So I have been driving a little bit. In fact, I had this one out
Nice.
yesterday and did some laps. Nothing big, just to clear the head and be able to get back to what we have to do here in the shop. Daniel Costa, our new general manager, who has replaced my brother, who's out in Indiana right now. He's in here, and we're just working hard. We're doing a service program for our customers, and we do have a couple families, local families that have come and driven. But we put those little tape lines that are a little more than 6 feet, just like everywhere else you go. So no, I think the Margay Ignite thing is going to be just huge for us this year. We have about 120 club members. We get about 80 for a club race. A bunch of folks come and drive during the week just to put laps in. I'm thinking by the end of the year we could be at 140. My goal would be to be 150 by next year. And that is not looking at any major advances in any of the other classes, although there are a couple that are developing. We have so much fun running this stuff. And then one thing I wanted to mention is, Rob and all four of us, right? How many times have we had people say, "Oh, you drive?"
Yeah.
Oh, come on. What am I doing in this? What do you think? I fell one day and hit my head and decided this is what I wanted to do. So the idea that we can get out and drive, and then, we did talk a little bit about the national and the majors events. And the coolest thing about them is what it allows us to do is keep the customer in the Ignite. And Rob, you and I and David get to go race with our customers That's awesome. 2 times a year. And so it keeps the customer going. And I'm super excited about the program. Keith and his family have been fantastic to work with, and we're pretty excited to wave some flags here.
I love it. Tim, thank you. Alan, you as well. Keith, thanks for joining us here in Face2Face. I appreciate it. Guys, again, we talk about support karting, right? These 3 guys right here are guys that need support. Oakland Valley Raceway Park, Kart Circuit Autobahn. Of course, we talked about the kart stimulus program from Margay, where you buy a new kart and they're going to give $250 credit for you at your local club. Perfect opportunity to get a brand new kart and then take care of your first couple of races and testing sessions. You can make sure you sign up at Oakland Valley Raceway Park, get your registration in, talk to them about the concierge service, and talk about going to Kart Autobahn. Check it out. At least if you're in the Chicago area, at least go out and get in the rental carts and try it. Once you do, look at that Margay. You know what's going to happen. And again, folks, as we say, hashtag support karting. Please do what you can. Our T-shirts are on sale. Remember, 100% of the profit from the T-shirts go to the EKN partners. Thank you so much for those of you who bought. I think we've sold out all the mediums already. We're low on a lot of the adults. I think we're almost over 50 or 60 shirts already sold. Nobody's even got shirts yet. Once you get them, take a picture of you wearing them, put them on social media, hashtag support karting, tag eKarting News. I'm going to give a bunch of free stuff out as well every week for those of you who put that up there for me. So, folks, we're done. Thank you so much for joining us here. Issue number 2 of the Face2Face. Big thanks to David Cole for producing everything in the background. Again, we can't wait to go racing. Support the sport right now. They're the ones that are there for you every weekend when you want to go racing. They need you right now. We're going to be back to the track soon. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Stay home right now if you have to. Otherwise, book it. We'll talk to you soon.